Welcome to My Pods Podcast. I'm Dr. Joe Schneider, and after 35 years as a functional neurologist, a personal journey through stroke recovery, and helping thousands of patients, I'm here to share breakthrough solutions for POTS and neurological wellness. From getting out of bed in the morning to rebuilding your nervous system, this is your guide to understanding and overcoming neurological challenges. Let's begin this journey to recovery together. So, good morning. We're at the Hope Brain Body Recovery Center, and we're going to be talking with Ernie this morning, right? Ernie's a special patient because every time Ernie comes in, he reminds me of growing up, okay? And growing up in our time was what, 70s?
60s, late 60s, 70s, yes.
70s, 3 years older than I am, right? He looks younger, but, he's 3 years older. So, that was a time where play was king, right? That's what we did, I guess our mothers didn't want to be bothered with us because they had work to do, right? So we went outside all the time. And so exploring, picking out teams, playing basketball, playing baseball, playing football, touch football in the street, half ball, stick ball, anything that we could do, we did it. Took the mops from our mother's house and went outside, and a lot of times it got broken, then we got in trouble, and things like that happened. But play, school, learning, was all done like in a cycle, but play was the most important part of it, right? Because it taught our bodies, it trained us for life. When we have a brain injury, and you've had a brain injury, right?
Yes.
Then all of a sudden, all those developmental skills that we've had throughout our life seem to be gone. And you're like, okay, what happened to those skills, So explain to me and our audience about your injury. Okay.
My injury, doctor came on quite sudden. I'm now 70 years old. My injury took place approximately a little over 2.5 years ago. I was just about 67 years old. I was fortunate. Was never one that was in and out of hospitals. I was a relatively healthy individual and didn't have really many medical issues at all. There isn't too much I couldn't do. I guess it was just beginning winter in December, and I had a accident at my neighbor's 2 doors up driveway. I had a neighbor that was coming in to put a block of cement in front of my house. We're talking, and he said, "Walk up. I'm doing a patio 2 doors up." So we started talking. It was actually December 10th, and it was a little chill in the air at that time. And we got to talking. He had 5 other workers there, and out of the blue, I was just unconscious before you know it, and I landed face first. I was unconscious before I hit on my neighbor's driveway. And I can remember coming to with the ambulance, police department there, and fortunately, my neighbor who was doing the cement work called 911, and everything was kind of a shock to me at that point. I didn't really know. I had no idea really what happened, and then it was explained to me afterwards. When I got to the hospital, they took me to Lankenau Hospital. The number one concern was what caused me to black out. And right away, what led to the heart. And that was the biggest concern while I was in the hospital.
Yeah.
And everything was addressed. I was put monitored on and what have you. And I finally was diagnosed with a supraventricular tachycardia. With the electrical side of the heart speeds up. It's a freakish type of thing. And it revved up so fast that I guess the blood couldn't pump fast enough. And I was I was totally unconscious, and I fell. They did a quick CT scan on me in the hospital to check on my brain and my neck. And make a long story short, they went in and did a ablation on my heart 2 days later, and there didn't seem to be any major concerns. They felt they got it, and I was released from the hospital. Fortunately, my symptoms didn't immediately come on at first. I was sent home, and over a period of time, they mentioned to me in the hospital, you more than likely had some form of maybe a minor concussion or what have you. But as time went on, I could see that I was developing more and more symptoms of dizziness, balance, brain fog, headaches. And I knew at that point that there's more to this. There's something going on up in the brain region.
The pictures of his face were horrendous.
Yes.
He hit, bam, right there. Asphalt, right?
Yes.
Asphalt.
Took
right on the asphalt, right?
My face took the full brunt, full force. I'm 6'2", 2.5. And
he's a man mountain.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I always tell, I wish we were playing 1-on-1 the day in basketball.
Right.
We'd be banging like really hard. He's a big guy. One of the nicest men you would ever want to meet. But in competition, I think I'll have his competition face on, right? Something different, right?
Yes.
That comes out.
I had a game face, Doc. You're right. It when it came to sports. But, yeah. Fortunately, I received a 36-stitch gash above my eyebrow. And the folks were there said when the police department arrived, they tilted my head back, and the police officer put set of rubber gloves on. He saw the gash, and then he got wobbly, and the paramedics came in and took over, thank God. And my wife filed us to the emergency room at Lankenau and requested a possible plastic surgeon to come in. The doctor said, I've been doing this long enough. Have faith in me. I think we can get this thing mended, and I don't think we'll need a plastic surgeon. So fortunately, I got my cut sewed up, and I was in the right place at the right time. And at that point, I was monitored up, like I said, for my heart, and I was eventually diagnosed with a tachycardia, and that was addressed. As I mentioned, the symptoms, what actually came out worse was the brain and neck portion of the fall ended up being a little worse than the heart. It was addressed real quickly in an ablation, and to this day, I go for my yearly checkup, and there seems to be no concerns at all with my heart. So I'd have to say my head injury and my neck turned out to be the more of the worst of this. Yeah, by far.
By far, yeah.
By far, yeah.
You know, as a result of it, you know,
Yes.
I had a stroke, right, when I was 59. And so the state of art for brain recovery that I found out in when I was 59 wasn't where it should be. Okay. So, I went on a mission to kind of change that. And so when Ernie came in, I always feel a patient in my heart when they come in, and knowing that we have to retrain the brain because you lose interconnections, you lose neurons, and the brain's just not what it was before the injury, right? And then it was after it. So when he hit that hard on asphalt, right on his face, things happen to your neck, your upper back, and things happen within the brain stem, subcortex, the cortex, shearing happens and things like that. And our new healing process is that we have to retrain all those tracks to be where they should, okay? for them to make the proper connections again, to communicate the way it should communicate in all aspects of what's going on, right? So every little thing, like his neck was really, really bothering him. Like, it's just like, nagging, aching, pain, stuff like that. But you don't know the full extent, usually, of an injury until the pain portion is lowered or gone. Okay?
Most definitely.
All right. And then you're saying, okay, let's go for the rest of it. Isn't that what happened to you?
No, most definitely. The other thing I allude to, after I hit and I came to and I was in the ambulance, I almost had this electrical shock sensation. They were telling me while I was in the ambulance, it's your spinal cord. I felt like a numbing, tingling that was shooting down my arms and what have you. And it probably took about a good 6 or 8 weeks for that to eventually release. But I didn't know the extent of the damage at the time. As I said before, it progressively got worse. And I was one that never experienced anything I never had any real form of trauma or injury, severe injury prior. I was a lucky, healthy guy most of my life.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, you're going to be that again.
Yes.
So Ernie just completed a 10-week program with us. And what did you think of our program?
I thought, Doctor, the program was excellent. I didn't allude to the fact I'd been to 2 other facilities over my past 2.5 years. I started at a rehab facility and just wasn't making progress. Proceeded to find a vestibular therapist that specializes in brain injury and made some progression there too. But over the course of another year, working a year and a half with that particular individual, we both kind of agreed that we kind of hit a roadblock where my progression was it was locked up. I was stuck, and it was time to possibly look at other avenues and move on. I was getting down on myself, a little depressed and frustrated. I was tied up to a room. I could see that my personality was changing. My life, I wanted to get back to being the person that I was so bad. And I was locked into my house and I was in a confined environment. It was starting to wear on me. And I could see that the mental aspect was just as tough as the physical. And that's one thing I attest to. The emotional and the mental part of this during the recovery it was tough. It really was. But I could only say I did some investigative work. I looked around and I said, where else can we turn? And I at that point, I was also down at Penn Medicine dealing with their TBI clinic. And they put me on some Prozac for calming purposes and went through about a 6 or 9 month program with them. And I finally reached out to Brain Hope Recovery Center here with Dr. Joe. And I had a conference call with the doctor and discussed my symptoms. Doc mentioned he thought I'd be a good candidate to come in for some testing, and that he thought there was hope, there was a chance we could work with you and make some progress. And I came in for the neuro feedback testing program, the initial testing. We got a base analysis of what we're dealing with. Sat down, and I think the doctor would attest that he came back with a structured 8 to 10 week program, and I assured my full commitment on my end. And I just at that point, I'd do anything to get better. And I could tell you, and I've mentioned it to the doc before, one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. Over 8 to 10 weeks, I would have never believed the improvement that I have made in the recovery program. And pretty much, as you mentioned, Doc, where I really noticed it is the second half. It seemed like everything started coming together.
Well, that's usually the way it goes.
Yes.
Patience.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I could see it right after my second, the real nice about the program, the halfway point, you get an analysis and you do another diagnostics, which gives you some feedback, in my case, which showed that we are making progress. I could see it too, where I really saw, I would say probably the last 3 weeks or 2 weeks of the program, I could just see the difference. There was so much more that I was able to do, both around the house. My wife could see it. I was becoming more and more of the old Ernie prior to the injury. And I can't thank you enough, doctor. I can't. Yes.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Yes.
Well, so the key to our program is a comprehensive program. We don't just like, all right, let's get rid of his neck pain. If we get rid of neck pain, then we're done. Or let's get rid of the brain fog, or let's get rid of, some of the cognitive aspects or the emotional aspects. The brain is so comprehensive in its reach in our body and brain working together and all the inputs that it needs to get back to where it was before, right? So it's kind of like regeneration or retraining of the brain, and all the wonderful qualities that you've had before are coming back, right?
Good and bad.
But so what happens now is that he's going to be training at home. So he's going to continue training because the training should not stop. And so we have Interactive Metro is our training of choice for him. But he is a very active person. So he likes, going out, taking care of his lawn, mowing lawns, edging, gardening, things like that. But life is active.
Yes.
We could tie him up, put him in the closet and say, okay, it doesn't work, right?
Right.
You need to get active. You need to get active with your relationships, active with your home life, your hobbies, and active with work, the type of work that you choose to do now, even though you're retired. So life is about being active. It's not about just sitting around, sitting on a sofa. So I'm very confident that Ernie is going to continue to rehab his brain and get progressively better to a point where you feel like you have almost your whole self back.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
All right? And so that's the way it works. So comprehensive brain care works for trauma. Comprehensive brain care works for brain injury. And Ernie's a good testament to it. The other thing is that he came in and gave it his all during treatment, right? And the staff really enjoyed working with you because you were all there, ready to do what was necessary for you to get better. So great result.
Yes. Once again, doctor, I can't thank you enough. And I mentioned to you numerous times, your whole program here. I'm a testimonial. Your staff, top notch, 5 stars. I can't say anything negative about this place. The only thing I wish, looking back, I wish I came here sooner from the start. That's right. My only regret. And my wife hears me mention this around the house, and she says, move on. Thank God you found Rain Hope Recovery Center, and move on, and let's get through with a progression and with our steady path forward. So, yes.
Well, as always, it was great getting to know you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And getting to know your wife and you. And the wonderful people that choose to come here to the Hope Brain Body Recovery Center. And it's really kind of a testament to what God really has planned for us, right? Because when I had my stroke, I had a near-death experience, right? And I was mad at God because he threw me back, but I think he threw me back for a reason. And when I was in the hospital, I came up with the word hope.
Yes.
I'm going to have a hope center. And everybody thought I was nuts.
It's funny you say that, doctor. I can relate to what you just say because I feel God did this to me for a reason. And this, what this gave me back in my recovery was hope. Hope was the key. I started seeing progress and I was stuck, and I can't stress enough the emotional aspect of I knew I was not going to progress until I got that hope back, and I got the mental portion of it taken care of. And I was, I needed to get back on some type of level track, and hope is the key, no doubt.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Ernie. Hope Brain Center. If you know anyone that needs care, please send them in, and we'll give them our best. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on My Pots podcast. If you're looking for more support, visit us at hopebraincenter.com or follow our journey on TikTok, where we share daily insights and inspiration. Remember, healing is possible. I'm living proof. I'm Dr. Joseph Schneider, and I'll see you next time as we continue exploring paths to recovery.